Being called an influencer is great. Knowing you're an influencer is great. Maybe even working with influencers is great. But you know what's better? Making money as influencers. That is the very reason I decided to create this series, to help you better understand what it means to be an influencer, how to work with brands, and most importantly, how to be able to make a living as an influencer. Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nthanda and I'm a digital creator from Malawi. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back, and if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you can become a part of the community. I haven't even had breakfast, but I just want to jump into this. On my last video, I was talking about how you can become an influencer from scratch, what exactly you need to know. So now that I've discussed what it means to be an influencer and how you can become an influencer from scratch, it's important that you understand how brands and how the general public segments influencers so you can better collaborate with brands and better make money. If a brand is looking for influencers to work with, the first thing they'll try to look at is influencers that are most relevant to that location. So if a brand is looking to work with influencers in different countries in that region, you want to make sure that you're at the top of that list. When they're thinking of influencers in Southern Africa, you want to be at the top of that list. If they're looking for influencers in Malawi, you want to be at the top of that list. And how do you get to be at the top of that list? And that's the second way in which brands segment influencers, and that's by niche. So as I already discussed in my previous video, understanding your niche, understanding your target audience, the people that listen to you, the people that value your voice, is very important. You want to be the key expert of reference in your different area, whether you're a beauty influencer, whether you're a travel influencer, you're a business influencer, whatever influencer you are, you want to be a key expert, a leading voice in your industry. So they'll segment you by your brand. If you're beauty influencers, you want to be the best beauty influencer there is. If you're a travel influencer, you want to be the best travel influencer there is. You basically want to be, if somebody, whatever field you're in, if you think I'm in beauty, if somebody thinks beauty in Malawi, they should think about you. Now, another notable way of segmenting influencers is by type of content. I think I touched on this in my first video, and that's, if I'm looking to work with influencers, I'm looking to say, okay, what type of reach do I want? So the brand knows who their target audience is and how they're trying to reach those people. So nearly every brand marketer knows how they're trying to reach their target audience. They already have that defined. So they know that, okay, maybe our audience listens to audio, maybe they watch video, maybe they respond better to pictures. So they'll segment you by your type of content. So when brands are looking to work with influencers, they're looking to reach their target audience, and they know their target audience and they know what their target audience responds to. That's what marketers are trained to do. They're supposed to understand those details. So as an influencer, you want to choose your modes. You also want to understand the audience that you're in. For example, if it's Malawi, people respond to media on television. Now, it's only now when they're going digital, when they come into social media, but before it was television, it was radio, and brands understood that and they would want to work more with audio, with video content. So as a content creator, you want to understand your geographical location and what type of content is relevant to the people that you're serving. So if it's video content, do you want to focus on YouTube, especially in the social media and digital space? Are you better at audio? Do you look better on camera? Do you want to be on video? Do you work better with pictures and captions? Do you want to focus on written content? Whatever content you're focusing on, you have to make sure that it's authentic, one, to your brand, but also your audience find it relatable, because you could be very good at video content, but if the people in your geographical location, for example, where I'm from, Malawi, don't watch videos, then you're going to be doing fruitless work and people are not going to be responding to your content. So you want to understand your geographic location and find out what you're good at, and find that point where you say, this is what I'm good at and this is how my audience can respond to this content, and this is how we can work together. Now, the last and possibly most important way of segmenting influencers is by numbers. At the end of the day, influencing is about influence. It's about numbers. It's about how many people trust your voice, how many people are listening to you. So there's a lot of people who call themselves, I'm an influencer because I have a lot of followers. It's most important, but you also have to understand that it's about the actual influence. It's not just about that I have 30,000 followers. It's not just about that these people will like my pictures. It's about that, do they listen to you? Do they trust you as a voice in any field? So we have mega influencers, and these are usually celebrities. We're talking about 1 million followers and up. These are usually people that have built their audience off social media. They're probably movie stars, they're maybe comedians, they're funny in some way. And these are usually hard to reach, but also most importantly, very expensive to work with. After mega influencers, we have what we call macro influencers, and these are usually in between micro influencers and mega influencers. We're looking at numbers from 40,000 to 1 million, and this is a worldwide standard. It can differ from country to country. So if you're looking at the context of example Malawi, a mega influencer has about 75,000 followers on Instagram. So obviously related to this scale that I'm working with. So if you have like 30,000, 40,000 followers, you're probably still close to being a mega macro influencer. But in the international scale, 40,000 to 1 million followers is usually looked at as macro influencers. So two things. Macro influencers are either big red celebrities, they're kind of good in their skills, but they're still getting there, they're still not A-list celebrities, or they can be online experts that people trust in their different fields of trade. So most macro influencers, especially those that are online experts, if they're really good at what they do, they eventually become mega influencers. Examples of mega influencers, you're looking at like Hiram in skincare, you're looking at like Patricia Bright in lifestyle, and now she's going into business and finance. There is the Chic Natural, who is really good at hair. Those are people who would have been called macro influencers, but they've built their brand, they understand their audience. They're so good to a point that you can actually consider them mega influencers. So macro influencers usually have been in the game for a while. They understand their trade. They are used to working with brands, so they're usually easier to work with brands, but often also they're usually a bit more expensive than micro influencers. And that's the third one, is micro influencers. On the grand scheme of things, micro influencers have about 10,000 to 40,000 followers. So micro influencers are a bit more personal. They're usually very interactive. They interact with their audience. They respond to questions. Their audience is too small, so they're able to interact with their audience, and their audience trusts them a bit more than they would trust mega and macro influencers. Brands actually prefer working with micro influencers as opposed to macro and mega influencers. So if you are looking to grow your audience, if you're in Southern Africa, if you have about 10,000 followers, the most key thing to do is to find a discipline that you're good at, that people can trust your voice on, and you become really good at that, and you work as a macro influencer, growing your way to become a macro and maybe even someday a mega influencer. One thing to note about micro influencers is they're far more trusted by their audiences, because unlike macro and mega influencers, they're more authentic and they will less than likely endorse something that is not good for them and their audience. And the last one is nano influencers. Nano influencers have maybe even just about 1,000 followers, 1,000 to 10,000 followers. But the great thing about these audiences is they're key experts in their fields. Nano influencers may not always have the numbers, but the thing about them is they really know their trade. They focus on one thing and they really know it to detail. So you're looking at, these are people who maybe even mega influencers would engage as a key expert in a particular field. So those are some of the ways in which brands will segment influencers when they're looking at influencers to work with on different campaigns for their brands. And the next thing I'm going to be discussing is how influencers make money by collaborating with brands, by promoting their own brands, by doing so many different things that people can do to leverage their influence to make a living. If you like this content, please like, subscribe, and comment. Don't forget to follow me on social media. I'll be seeing you very soon. Till then, stay kind.